Friends of Formula One, something close to a miracle just happened at Ferrari. But behind Hamilton's triumph, there's a crisis quietly brewing. The seven-time world champion pulled off a monumental second place in Canada, capping it with a spectacular overtake on Verstappen, the best result of his entire time in red. And the man behind this remarkable turnaround has a very specific name: Cedric Santi, the new trackside engineer who has given Lewis a fresh sense of confidence and a whole new edge. On the other side of the garage, though, Leclerc called Canada one of the worst races he can remember in a Ferrari. Two completely opposite realities living inside the same team, and they raise some very serious questions about what comes next. Hamilton may be about to exercise his option to extend his contract into 2027, and that changes the internal balance of power entirely. If you don't want to miss any updates on Ferrari and Formula One, drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss a thing. With that said, let's get straight into the full breakdown. Cedric is the name everyone inside Ferrari uses for Carlos Santi, Hamilton's new trackside engineer. He's a man with deep roots at the Scuderia, someone who has been orbiting the Maranello machinery since the Raikkonen era, playing a crucial strategic support role in managing race weekends. By all accounts, he had Vasseur's full confidence from the start, with the team principal personally pushing to have him as Hamilton's key reference point. Santi was tested across a handful of Grand Prix, and the immediate chemistry he developed with Lewis confirmed the decision was exactly right. Cedric's contribution went well beyond setup work. He helped Hamilton understand that much of his discomfort at Ferrari came from following simulator instructions that went completely against his natural racing instincts. The moment Lewis was freed from that obligation, he rediscovered his own intuition as his most powerful weapon for defining car setup. And the results in Canada spoke for themselves. Hamilton wiped out a 6-second deficit to Verstappen with an absolutely breathtaking comeback, crowned by a stunning outside overtake at Turn 1 on lap 61. The two eternal rivals even embraced after the race, a clean and respectful duel that felt a world away from their wheel-to-wheel battles back in the Mercedes days. Hamilton's performance reignited the passion of the Scuderia's fans, who had been waiting for a signal this strong for well over a year. After the race, Lewis paid tribute to the collective effort led by Vasseur and the relentless dedication of the engineers back at the factory. The rebuild is a gradual process, but putting on a show of strength at a pure power circuit opened up real optimism for tracks where raw horsepower matters less. Perhaps the most striking stat from the Canadian weekend is that Ferrari, without a single new technical upgrade, beat both McLaren and Red Bull, who had both arrived in Montreal with significant updates. Hamilton extracted every last millimeter of opportunity through absolutely flawless race management. Sure, second place was helped along by the retirements of Russell and Norris, and a strategic disaster from McLaren, but in all likelihood Lewis would have been fighting for the third step of the podium against the papaya cars regardless. Even Vasseur admitted he hadn't expected that level of competitiveness in Montreal, with their closest rivals rolling out major developments. The team principal also pointed out that Hamilton had the outright pace to fight for the front row across both qualifying sessions. The bold call to skip the simulator entirely and rely exclusively on real-world data paid off once again, further exposing the team's deep-rooted correlation problems. In 20 years of racing, there has only been one time the virtual setup matched the real-world result, and that was Singapore in 2012. Old-school data analysis beat the digital models, and Ferrari would be wise to give even more weight to the instincts of a driver with 105 race wins behind him. After the race, Hamilton celebrated over the radio in Italian with an emotional "Grazie a tutti," a phrase that perfectly captured the genuine bond he has built with his new team. He also devoted some heartfelt words to Antonelli, admitting that watching the young Bologna driver succeed warms his heart, but that his own immediate goal is to bring Ferrari back to the very top, because after so many difficult years, Maranello deserves to be fighting for wins again. But set against all of Hamilton's renewed enthusiasm, we're seeing something worrying on the other side of the garage. Leclerc, speaking to Sky, described Canada 2026 as one of the worst races he can remember in a Ferrari. That's a heavy statement from a driver who has always been completely genuine and brutally honest in everything he says. If he's expressing that level of discomfort publicly, it's because he clearly feels it very deeply. The two realities inside that garage are so stark and so opposite that they raise legitimate questions. On one side, Hamilton's growing excitement. On the other, Leclerc's frustration. Something has clearly shifted inside Ferrari, and that shift has brought comfort to one driver while leaving the other out in the cold. The question that comes naturally is whether this could be linked to contract clauses that give Hamilton a meaningful advantage when it comes to the 2027 option. Everyone assumed Hamilton's time at the top was winding down, and that a new balance would emerge with Leclerc as undisputed team leader alongside Behrman. But something seems to have changed in Lewis's mind, and with his enthusiasm and feeling fully restored, he may well decide to trigger that one-year extension. That scenario would inevitably worry Leclerc, who would suddenly find himself denied the clear leadership role that had seemed all but guaranteed for next season. Monaco is traditionally the Grand Prix where the internal dynamics of a team for the following season begin to take shape, and it's precisely in the Principality where we'll find out whether this tension is temporary or structural. If Leclerc rediscovers the brilliance that has always defined him at Monte Carlo, with the kind of dazzling performance that produced his historic 2024 victory and finally broke the curse, then all will be well and we can look forward to a stunning home race from the Monegasque driver on a track where he knows every centimeter of asphalt. But if Leclerc shows further signs of nerves and a lack of confidence, then something in Ferrari's internal equilibrium has genuinely and deeply changed, and the miracle of Santi could paradoxically end up destabilizing the team as a whole. For Ferrari, it is absolutely essential to have two fast and motivated drivers in the car, especially at a moment when the championship fight demands everything from everyone. The SF26 is a Monaco car, far more than a Canada car, as Leclerc himself pointed out. Less raw power, more aerodynamic load means both drivers can express themselves fully without being dragged down by an engine deficit. McLaren's Andrea Stella has already named Ferrari as the favorite, citing GPS data showing the Scuderia is exceptionally strong through slow-speed corners. Hamilton wants to confirm the positive trend, and Leclerc is dreaming of redemption on his home circuit. The A duo is expected in the coming days and could pave the way for the new engine at Spa. Canada consecrated Hamilton's revival, but it also opened an emotional fracture inside the Ferrari garage that needs to be addressed quickly and intelligently before it becomes a structural problem for the entire project. The miracle of Cedric Santi has reignited Lewis, but Leclerc needs concrete answers and real reassurance about his role going forward. Monaco will be the ultimate judge. If both drivers shine in the Principality, Ferrari can genuinely dare to dream big for the rest of the season and mount a proper championship challenge with both pilots firing at full intensity. The next upgrade package arrives at Barcelona with the complete front wing and a further evolved FTM, while the A duo could open the door to the new engine at Spa in July. This game is far from over,